Hey everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Chef Ralph's Realm. Today we are doing a pizza rustica type of thing that's been in my family for generations. This goes to my paternal grandfather's mother. So my great-great-grandmother on my father's side. She was Sicilian, I believe. This is not your traditional pizza rustica, so I use that term lightly. In our family, we just call it salami pie. It's a weird sponge density. It's hard to explain. I have been in the culinary field for over 25 years. I've never come across anything like it before. So, yeah. This is the woman who came up with it, or was passed down to, and yeah. So I'll throw a copy of a typewriter-written recipe here. You can pause the video if you want to take that down, but I'll post it below anyway. All right, so in that recipe that I just showed you, it shows a crust recipe. I'm gonna do store-bought because it's the holiday time. I'm busy, everybody's busy. Yes, it would be better homemade, but it is just as good, and you still get the point across if you do it with the pre-made stuff. So the pre-made stuff being a store-bought pie shell, and then the roll-out top. Pretty easy. So this recipe that I'm going to be giving you is going to make 2 8 or 9 inch pies. So, you know, when you go to the supermarket, you buy the double pack of the pie bottoms, and then you get the little box of the pie tops. They both come in twos, so top, bottom, bottom. Some of the measurements are funky, and they vary because this is generations old. You know, like an egg 100 years ago isn't the same as an egg now. So I've kind of been able to tweak the recipe to the best of my abilities to make it so that it's workable with today's ingredients. Let me grab the first mixing bowl. So to start with the filling, it's very easy actually. So the filling is going to start with 7 eggs. And what I do is I'll crack the eggs into a cup and then put it in here. I don't like to pool eggs when you're cracking them because first off, if you get shell, it's a pain to dig out. And if there's something wrong with the egg, maybe a spot of blood or, you know, something like that, it's just much easier to pour them into one bowl and then pool it as such. So we're going to go in with the eggs. We're going to give them a quick little scramble here. Everything's going to get mixed up, but, you know, I just like to get the yolks a little broken up. The next ingredient we're going to throw in is, so the recipe says a handful plus a little, so absolutely subjective. Everybody's handful is different. I've figured it out to be about 3/4 of a cup to 1 cup of grated Parmigiano Reggiano cheese, right there. So that's going to go in. Does seem like a lot of Parmesan, but hey, this is how we do. Next ingredient, 2/3 of a cup. And in the original recipe, it said a coffee cup full. So, how big was a coffee cup in 18 whatever? It was probably more like the early 1900s. But anyway, I digress. With that, we're going to go in with the 2/3 of a cup of flour. Give it a little bit of a fold. Just incorporate it just a tad. Next ingredient, a slight teaspoon. What the hell is a slight teaspoon? I'll tell you what a slight teaspoon is. It is about 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder. Baking powder. Not baking soda, baking powder. This is going to give it a little bit of a rise and that little bit of a spongy, quiche Yeah, this is kind of like a pizza rustica quiche hybrid. So we're going to go in with that because the baking powder is a leavening agent. It will give it a little bit of bounce. It'll give it a little bit of rise. I'm going to roll, kind of just fold all that in. Wonderful. And then the last two ingredients for the filling, salt and pepper. Now the salt is very subjective. I start out with about a half a teaspoon. There is a lot of Parmesan cheese in this recipe, so you don't need a lot of salt. Fresh cracked black pepper. We're going to go about a teaspoon. You can use more or less. You could omit it completely. And then we're just going to give it all a nice mix. Doesn't have to be super smooth, just until incorporated. And what I said about the sizes being subjective, these eggs that I used look a little small. I can tell that this filling is a little thick. So I'm going to add one more egg. Give that a mix. Alright, so when it's combined like this, it could be lumpy, it could be a little chunky, that's fine. If you're using good Parmigiano Reggiano cheese, it doesn't have that, I think it's cellulose, that wood pulp in there, so it does clump a little bit with some of the moisture. Not a problem at all. So we're going to put this to the side. Now, the meats and the cheeses, we've got Swiss cheese, we've got ham, and we've got salami. So we're going to do a layer of each on the bottom, then a layer of filling, then another layer on top, then the top crust. So let's build it. All right, so now we're at this stage where we're ready to bake. The oven is set at 350 degrees, and we're gonna do a 45-minute bake about. Now it's all subjective, time and temperature. So you want the internal temperature to reach between 165 and 170. You can do the toothpick or the skewer test where you put a toothpick in, pull it out, and then push it on your lip, and if there's moisture to it, or if it comes out wet, then it means it's not done yet. But you can either do internal temperature, or if you're old school, the toothpick or skewer method. So we're gonna throw it in the oven. And we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. So the pie is out of the oven. It is cooled, mostly. And I've got the other pie in the oven cooking. So let's dig into this one and see what we got. I mean, that's beautiful, guys. That's a beautiful pie. I did egg wash it. Egg wash is, for this specific recipe, one egg, just a little splash of water, whisk it up, and then within like the last 2 to 3 minutes of it baking in the oven, pull it out, hit it with a little bit of an egg wash on the top, put it back in, let it cool. It'll get that nice glisten flavor, nice glisten color to it. All right, let's grab a knife. I'm gonna cut cut into this. We'll put this to the side a little bit. We'll grab a plate. Grab our little pie wedge scooper thingy. Get under there, and now with any luck, we should have a perfect layered. Look at that, guys. That is absolutely spectacular. It's a little warm still. So this pie could be eaten room temperature. This was one of those things that, you know, before we were so worried about refrigeration, this would just sit on the counter for like a day or so. And it was fine. We all survived. We actually thrived. So, now traditionally, in my family, we serve this with a whole grain ground mustard. I'm not sure where it came from. That side of the family, we're mutts. We weren't really purebred anything as far as I can remember. So, we'll grab a little fork. So traditionally, let's get this beautiful guy out of there. So we'll cut a nice little chunk of that. Perfect. So traditionally, we're just going to dip it in a little bit of the... Take a minute and look at that center. It's a little eggy, it's a little spongy. Cheers, guys. Wow. I'll tell you, it gets me a little emotional because this was something that was always at my grandmother's house during Easter, primarily. And then when she passed away, I kind of took on the responsibility and honor of making this dish, and it's really wonderful. I'm going to pull this out and just dissect this just a little bit for you. I can't tell you enough that this eggy center, it's quiche, but it's bready quiche. It's phenomenal, of whatever it is. Alright guys, I'm going to enjoy this, and the second one's going to go to my parents' house tomorrow for Easter. But you can make this, you know, year-round as a quiche substitute, a pizza rustica, or as I said before, like we call it in my family, just salami pie. Alright guys, I hope you like this video, this personal home recipe of my family. I hope you guys get to use it with yours. If you like my content, please give it a like, subscribe, and follow. And I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.